So thank you for having me. This is a huge honor for me to come out and talk to you guys. And hopefully I don't blow it here. If I do, I'll just fight everybody, like Wayne mentioned. And so just to go back, why am I here? I don't really belong here. When you look at the lineup of the speakers, you have theologians, you have priests, you have radio hosts, you have guys who have written numerous books on Catholic and faith and men and this and that and everything about our faith. Why am I here? I don't belong here. The reason I'm here is because I made a business. I made a very lucrative life decision about just beating guys up. That's what I did. I broke noses, I shattered cheekbones, I separated shoulders, I've caused dozens and dozens of concussions. I was the most feared fighter in the NHL for the better part of a decade. That was my job. I would go out there. If you mess with the player, I played for the Hawks for a few years. If you even looked at Patrick Kane sideways, I would rearrange your face. That was my job, and I was very good at it. So that's why I'm here. Another reason why I'm here is because the All-Star Game. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I was voted into the All-Star Game probably, but there's a few youngsters here over there. You probably voted me into the All-Star Game, and much appreciated. But yeah, that's another reason I got this All-Star Game going for me. But the real reason I'm here, and the real reason I hope you guys take something away from this, is because I reached the pinnacle of my career. When I was a kid, I grew up, eat, sleep, drink hockey. That's all I did. I don't know how it here is in Chicago. You have football, you have baseball, hockey's maybe third on the rung, and then the Bulls. Nobody cares about the Bulls. So I don't know how it is here, but where I grew up in Canada, it's the stereotypical Canadian thing where you go to bed with your skates on, you wake up, you skate. So hockey was my life, and I was lucky enough to parlay that passion into an education up at Michigan Tech University, into a professional career, Michigan Tech Husky over here, love that, and then into a professional career. And along the way, I just expected to get happier and happier and happier and happier because I'm climbing the ranks. I'm going from minor hockey to junior C, to junior B, to NCAA, to East Coast, to AHL, and finally to the NHL. And we'll talk about this later. What was very surprising to me was the further I got in my career, the less happy I got. The more money I made, the more I was searching for more. The more I saw guys around me who were making millions of dollars and you think everything was going right in their life. And they're miserable. Well, not miserable in a sense of where they go home and cry every night. Miserable in a sense of they're not happy. They're still searching for stuff. They drink, they do drugs, they're out. They're not fulfilled, so to speak. And so as I climbed the ranks in my profession, which was hockey, and I'm sure some of you can attest here, we probably have some successful men here, whether it's business, whether it's whatever you do. The further you get, the more lonely it gets, the more sad you get, and the more you find you want more. This isn't enough. I want more. Where is it? I made the NHL. What's next? This sucks. I got to get a bigger contract. I only made $800,000. I got to get to that million mark. Okay, I got to that million mark. What's next? I need a 5-year deal for $5 million. I got to get it. Never enough. It wasn't until I finally found our Lord in the chapel around the corner when I started to realize what really matters. And I know it's cliche, but it's the truth. Like, I am as happy as I am now, and I don't make a dime. Like, I compared to everybody else and all of my other friends, I'm just a regular Joe like you guys. I do a regular engineering job during the week. I make decent amount of money, and then I go home to my family with, you guys laugh, 7 daughters. like that's what I do. I live in a small house with my family, and I could not be happier. It's hard to do for guys to pray on something and kind of lock in, but I managed to get some good time in front of our Lord. And what stuck out to me, and I'm sure it sticks out to everybody, was the work and the faith. He who comes to me shall never hunger. So you have to work. You have to go to our Lord. You have to physically get off your behind and go to him. He's not going to come to you. As nice as it would be for you to just be able to sit in your room and have the Lord come to you, that's not how it works. We have to put some work in. So there's the work part. And then there's the faith part. He who believes in me shall never thirst. So I took out of this passage, boom, 2 things, work and faith. And I don't know about you guys, work is easy for me. I can get up, I can shovel the driveway, I can rake the leaves. My wife gives me a task, a list. I'll do it, I'll bang it out. It's edifying for me to be able to just go, okay, check, check, check. I can do that. That's very simple. The hard part is faith. And that's where it gets a little tricky for me because I just struggle with it. I can sit down in front of our Lord and try to pray. I get distracted. I'm reading articles on my phone about just random stuff on LifeSite News, and it's just, and then the next thing you know, an hour has gone by, and I'm like, why am I here? So the work is easy. And I say the work is easy because in my hockey career, that was what I leaned on. I was never the best player. I was never the most skilled. You guys have the Blackhawks. You were blessed to have Kane, Taves, Hall, Makita. Now you got Connor Bedard, for Pete's sake. I'm not those guys. So what I did in my career was, if I'm not going to be able to be as skilled as these guys, I'll outwork them. That's plain and simple. I'll be the first guy at the rink. I'll be the last guy at the rink. And I'll do the stuff that nobody wants to do. You want me to block a shot from Ovechkin? Sure, I'll do it. You want me to fight whoever's the toughest guy you think is? I'll fight him and I'll beat him up. I didn't want to do it, but I knew that's what I had to do to get to the NHL and to stay in the NHL. So work was an easy part. And the thing with work is, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. You just got to get up and do it. And if you see a guy who has traits that you want, you just copy him. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. And this way, the great thing about our faith is it's not rocket science. It's very simple to get to heaven. It honestly, it's clear as day. It's written right out. And in this passage, I think it's super easy. Do the work and believe in me, and then everything else will take care of itself. Watching video after video after video of a guy I had to fight the next night. And that's what I did. I would, every single night, I knew I had to fight someone. The night before, I would study him. I would say, okay, is he a lefty or is he a righty? How does he start a fight? Does he come in with a bomb, like Matt Carpenter or Brian McGrattan? Or does he come in and hold on like Cam Jansen or these types of guys, Eric Bolton? How does he grab? What is his style? I would study them, so I knew how to beat them. George Peros liked to come in with a jab. If you watch one of our first fights, I catch his fist in midair because I know he's going to throw a punch. And I throw it down, and I pop him right in the face, and he goes on his behind. Because you should study. You do the work. So I'm laying there. It's 3 a.m. And I can't sleep. I'm like, this guy's a murderer. He's beating up people. This is not good. And my wife wakes up, and she's annoyed. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got to fight Steve McIntyre tomorrow. She's like, who's that? I'm like, he's an assassin. He's going to kill me. This is not going to end well. She goes, oh, that's not good. And she goes, how big is he? I go, oh, he's 6'5", 255. That's pretty big. She goes, how big are you? I go, oh, 6'8", 270. She goes, go to bed, baby. You don't She's like, you don't think he's scared of you? I am. He might be. And I honestly put the phone down, and I never watched another video again at night. I was just like, boom.